Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope that you guys are doing fantastic. Just wanted to let you know that we're not going to be live today. However, we've got some content, pre recorded content available for you. First up, we're going to have the Georgetown public meeting that happened on Thursday evening, July 13th, crime prevention and community safety. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and have a territories talk segment, which originally aired on Wednesday evening. So sit back, relax, guys. Hope that you enjoy this for your Friday segment. And not to worry, I'll be back live in the studio on Monday morning, bright and early. So I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful weekend. And before I go, let me do a quick shout out to none other than Miss Sue McLaughlin. It is her birthday today. Miss Sue, we're thinking of you here. Your CMR family loves you. And happy, happy, happy birthday. Hope that you have a fantastic birthday weekend.
We put out some of the convictions that are happening for these offenses to ensure that not only the general public, but also persons that would be, minded to possess a firearm or conduct a robbery, understand the gravity of the situation and the impact that it could have on themselves and certainly the Cayman Islands. So as an example, 2 persons were sentenced just recently, one for 11 years, 6 months, and another for 10 years. All right. And those are some of the consequences for possessing firearms within the Cayman Islands. We do have a mandatory minimum, which is 10 years. And we are ensuring that we're putting, the best foot forward to ensure that we get persons behind bars and investigate the matters accordingly. So from an entire RCIPS perspective, we are ensuring that we are putting the effort. We had over the last weekend several operations, and a big thing that we're pushing for at this time is also looking at the drugs within our community. So we had a drug operation over the weekend, and several items of illegal control substances were found, and persons were dealt with accordingly. In addition to that, we're also working with work and also CBC, because a large part of the problem that we have is also persons working without or outside of their parameters in terms of work permits and various other assets. So over the last 3 weeks, we have actually assisted in getting 5 persons off of the island that doesn't need to be here. And I'll be straight up with that. And that's part of what we actually need to do, as an organization, RCIPS, but as law enforcement entities, which is work, CBC across the island. I'll just hand over to my colleague shortly to just specifically focus on Inspector Yearwood on the CPD efforts and more the actions that we've taken within our communities, such as Windsor Park and a few of the other areas that we have been in more recently. Thank you.
Good evening to all. As it relates to the CPD or the Community Policing Department, in recent times, we have been targeting, or rather, we have been looking at areas as it relates to drugs. We have made a number of arrests as highlighted by the superintendent. And we are looking at working with other agencies, because when we look at just drugs, we can't just look at enforcing our way out of it. We also have to look at other alternatives that we can use in terms of trying to get persons to move the other way. In terms of some of the issues, I can speak about some of the issues in Windsor Park. And this is where the community, let's be frank, is bursting at the seams, and parking is becoming an issue. So we are looking at how we are going to curtail this. We've been doing some door-to-doors to persons. And to be quite frank, we are letting you know, look, you need to find somewhere else to park before it gets to the issuing of tickets. As it relates to other areas, we are very, very heavily looking at the Washington Boulevard area as well. And there are some antisocial issues going on. And like I said, we are working with other agencies to see how we can either eliminate or mitigate these areas. As the night goes on, I will speak on other trends and other areas that we are covering as it relates to the community policing department. I'll turn it back over to the chief superintendent. The minister actually wishes to say some words.
Yes, just a quick reminder, as we are seeing the social media platforms starting to increase in numbers, which we're happy about. That means we are getting out to more and more persons. So we thank the viewing audience online. We now also understand that we are streaming live on Radio Cayman. We ask those who are on social media, whether it be YouTube or Facebook, to go ahead and please press the share button so that everybody across our 3 islands can get the opportunity to hear what is being said. Don't forget to leave your questions or comments, as when we get to that point of questions, we will be happy to take those or give those to the police so you can hear the responses. Mr. Yearwood, I guess with the simple wrap up already started, maybe we can introduce some of the community officers that are here, so that the public can see that there is a large contingent of officers here today showing the commitment of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service to this very important matter.
Good evening, all. I'm Senior Police Constable Michael Peart. My beat is Central Georgetown.
Good evening, everyone. My name is PC Cadane Hall. My beat is Beat 7, which includes Windsor Park, Walkers Road, Fairbanks, and all the different communities in wards of there.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sergeant Pompey. I'm the supervisor in Georgetown for our Community Policing Department. Some of the officers here come under my command. And apart from the community police officers, we also have the community safety officer. So I'll get him to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Asher Moore. I'm the community safety officer for Georgetown, covering the Windsor Park into Washington Boulevard as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am PC 421 Byron Morgan. I hold the responsibility for the beat 8 and also assist with the other beats that take me all the way back to the airport. So you'll see a lot of me every day. Thank you.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is PC 235 Donville Myers, School Resource Officer, adjoined to Community Police Department.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Donaldson, Police Sergeant. I'm the supervisor for the Eastern Districts. I'm just here to support the Georgetown officers.
All right, with that in mind, I want to say thank you so much to the officers for coming out. Before we go to social media, in respect to questions, is there any questions from the members in the audience today that would like to ask the representatives for the RCAPS? Don't be afraid. This is the time. This is a serious matter, and we made sure to make them available. If you have a question, just raise your hand. Shana, you want to come take one of the mics, or somebody? No, the public needs to hear for the content perspective. So, okay, just for the listening audience, the question was, what is the role of the community safety officers?
Okay, so the community safety officer is a support person to assist in the community. For example, Mr. Moore is not exactly a police officer, but he is there to assist in areas identifying where we have needs the same way that we would have a beat officer. So when he identifies these needs in the districts, he will then put it on to, he would make me aware as well as communicate with the beat officer responsible for that area. So he's there to assist the beat officer. Yes, it is a full-time, currently it is a full-time job, yes. Yeah. So just to make you aware, we will be sending out applications very shortly to fill some posts as it relates to some more community safety officers. We
All right.
presently have 6 vacancies.
Okay, so for everyone that are listening online, there's job opportunities at the Royal Caribbean Police Service at the moment for community safety officers. So if you're interested in doing what we all want, which is protecting our communities, maybe it'd be a great career to start in. Unless there's other questions in the audience, we could take some questions from online that I've seen come in so far, but I want to give that first opportunity to those who are in the audience. All right, well, while we build up our braveries, I'll go to one of the questions I saw online. What can homeowners and business owners do to protect themselves from crime? What can homeowners and business owners do to protect themselves from crime?
Thanks for your question. Online, we have a program at present with the RCIPS. It's a crime prevention program that's facilitated by myself and Sergeant Donaldson. Actually, today we were doing a workshop with a business company today. And it's a series of programs. So if you are interested as a business owner, yes, we are willing to do that aspect for you. For the residential side, we do have the community officers who comes out every day with tips and information on crime prevention. After the meeting, if you want to speak with me, we can talk about crime prevention because that's a passion for me.
Officer Pompey, if I could just ask, just for those who may not be able to ask follow-up questions in that area online, if somebody who is listening on social media want to get in contact with their community officer, is there a telephone number or an email address that they can use to reach out to get to know their officers in their communities, whether it's Georgetown East, West, South, North, or even in Kim and Brack?
I guess they're going to probably have to start taking their pen and pencils out. RCIPS supervisor at rcips.ky. RCIPS CPD supervisors at rcips.ky. I'm not sure if you can put it up on the screen. RCIPS CPD supervisors at rcips.ky. Or you can call 949-4222. The extension you're going to get me is extension 3005. 3005 extension.
Thank you, Officer Pompey. Before there's one more I have, and my team, if you have any other questions coming in, please, you can make them forward up to the stand. Is there any questions in the audience? We do have one.
Minister,
Mr.
if
Silver?
I could just add to Sergeant Pompey's answer just before you go. My name is Jody Ann Powery. I'm the police media officer with the RCIPS. I work with the Media and Communications Unit. But in addition to getting in contact with your CPD officers in your beats, you can also visit our website, rcips.ky. We have crime prevention tips posted both for businesses and for homeowners on the website, rcips.ky.
We
And we do also encourage everyone to download the mobile app. In addition to those crime prevention tips, you also get our press releases that are sent out daily, instantly once they're posted.
We just saw another message come in saying, for those community officer job openings, what is the age range?
So it starts from age 18, and it's community safety officers, not police officers. But right now, there's 6 vacancies for community safety officers, and starting from age 18.
Okay, we have.
So the ending age is 40.
All right. We do have another question coming in from social media. Do you think that there should be a gun amnesty? Do you think that there should be a gun amnesty? Mr. Silver, I saw you. I apologize. I forgot. So after they answer this, we'll ask you to come up and ask the question. Gun amnesty question.
Yes, thanks for the question. Gun amnesty are always beneficial. The last one we had, I can't give you the stats or the figures at this time, but we did get quite a bit of ammunition and firearms that were handed in. Unfortunately, those were sort of old firearms and firearms that were not wanted by persons who actually were not intending to use their firearms anymore. So we're thankful for all the firearms that we get during an amnesty, but what our focus is really and truly is getting those illegal firearms off our streets that people are actually using to commit crimes. But yes, we will consider firearm amnesty, because as I said, any firearm off the street and in our possession is good.
We do have a question from one of the members in the audience. Turn the mic on.
My question is that I'm a frequent listener to Cayman Mall Road, and a lot of information seemingly come through that avenue. I'm wondering if there's any collaboration with that platform.
Good night. Thank you for the question. I'm actually one of the persons who is responsible for our social media platforms, in addition to all the other information that's put out from the service to the public. We have in the past had interviews with Cayman Mall Road, and when we are invited to attend, we make an effort to do so. We communicate regularly with all the media houses on the Cayman Islands, whether through our press releases as well as through press queries that are frequently asked to our unit. Additionally, we do also try to extend our reach to the listening public and the general public. And so we've done things like just last weekend, it was KMAS, and we've had added ads to Everything 345, which is a social media platform on Instagram, just to get to get to a target audience and get a certain message across. So we do consider all media, and we attend whenever we are invited to.
Okay, so let me try to see if I can answer your question for you. okay, the RCIP or any law enforcement agency are guided by what we should put out or what we can put out and what we, in a timely fashion. We have to think court, yes, at the end of the end of the day. And certain things that we release can compromise the investigation if we do so. The investigation and witnesses. So we have to be very, very careful what we release and when we release it. So now what I can say that we have been able to work around some media platforms. I mean, I say that they have become beneficial. At the same time, it does cause some concerns as well. But we work with the current climate. I hope that answers your question, sir. Okay.
I want to say again, thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is going well so far in respect to the content information. I just want us to be mindful to, if you do have a question, so everybody can hear, not only those in the room, just be patient so we can get the mic so that those on social media and YouTube and Facebook can hear. It's very important. We do have a number of questions that have come in. I'm gonna, Minister Turner has a question.
Yes, I have a question that came in via YouTube, and I'll read. With the high rise in crime, can pepper spray and tasers be made legal for persons to protect themselves? And if not, then how should the regular person protect themselves in a case of an attempt robbery? Is it possible to enforce a more strict Marine police to patrol at night? Because they're pretty sure guns don't, just spawn on the ground in the Cayman Islands. And if we can stop it, we can avoid certain crimes and crime won't rise.
Okay, to answer the first question as it relates to the pepper spray and other mediums that they want to use, it is not legal and it's not permitted at this time. But in a robbery, let's be quite honest and frank. Do you want to, under those circumstances, have a confrontation with the person who is attacking, with your attacker at that time? Our advice to you would be to be very compliant. You stand a better chance of your own safety than trying to antagonize the situation and can make it worse off for yourself. That would be my answer to that question.
Superintendent Brad, if you want to add to that, if not, we can move on to the next question. Is that okay? Okay. We do have one from the audience before we go to two others we have via social media.
Good evening, panel. My question is, I'm aware that we used to have officers or beat officers on feet in our communities, which at that time, we wasn't having the amount of crime that we're having now. Why was the officers removed, and how can we have them back on feet in our communities?
So at present, you are correct. We are short, and it's part of our strategy or our planning for 2024 or before that to recruit. Currently, we have a recruit class that will be starting in 2 weeks, and it's the intention of us as a senior command team to ensure that community policing is bolstered, because at present, we are at least 13 officers short on community policing. And that for me, and we spoke, that for me is a passion and a priority for us. At present, the officers that you see here represent most of the beats that they can handle. And a lot of the times when an officer has to take his or her rest day or go on their leave, that beat then doesn't see the presence that it would see on a normal basis. So, you know, these officers here have been working some long hours. They accept phone calls out of hours, and we push them and we push them and we ask for more. However, we have to support them with more resources. And I think from a senior command perspective, you are 100% correct. CPD as a unit certainly needs more, and we're going to certainly put more in there.
I just want to say, to remind those who are watching social media, I have to do this constantly because it helps us get our numbers up. If you're watching via Facebook or via YouTube, please press the share button so that those persons on your platform can have access to it. And before I move on to something similar to that in respect of question, Officer Brad, you had anything to add?
I just wanted to add to Superintendent Williams' comments there. Our idea, really, or our objective is to actually put two officers on each beat, and they can actually not only rotate shifts, but when one officer is off on leave, you still have that officer on the beat. So we are cognizant that we are short, and the community should be seeing more officers, but we have a plan in place that should suffice your concerns. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to throw two questions out because they may fall in different offices, and then they can prepare the answers. One is, what are the qualifications for those positions? And when that question came in, I think they were talking about the community safety officers, those positions that were out for tender. The next question is, what is the profile of those arrests thus far, and where are they from a particular district, nationality, unemployment, previous criminal record, etc.? That's a pretty detailed question. I'm not sure how much they can say, but just reading what we are getting.
So I'll answer the CS. So the requirement is for a high school certificate. That is the basic requirement, the minimum requirement. And then you will undergo training as the needs arise.
Okay, thanks. That process is I would say, a pretty significant process as well. You apply for the position, and then you go through an interview process, and then you go through 2 weeks of training, which is facilitated by our Sergeant Pompey and Sergeant Donaldson as well. So, but just to say a little bit more on the community safety officers, they work alongside of our community beat officers to sort of bridge that gap, not only support, but bridge that gap with the community as well. So just to identify any safety concerns within the community, and they could vary in a number of ways. The vulnerable persons that we are concerned about, road safety, traffic issues, anything that causes a concern or safety to our communities. Those safety officers are responsible for bringing them to the attention, those things to the attention of the community officer, and they can work with, say, CUC or NRA to address those problems. And then the second question was about the demographics of those arrested, and while I won't call any particular nationality, I can say that 8 of those persons were local persons, and 3 were from another jurisdiction.
All right. I'm not pressuring you to answer if you can't answer because of security reasons. It's totally understandable. But just to give you the other components of the question was, what is the profile of those arrested thus far? Are they from a particular district, nationality, unemployment, previous criminal record? So if you can't answer it, I don't want to feel like I'm pushing you to do so, but just say that so the person feel that they are getting the question answered.
I think we'll just leave it as.
Okay, leave it as is.
Yes.
All right. Before we go back to social media, is there anybody in the audience that has a question? Minister Turner?
Yes, I do. Another one from YouTube. Can there be more police presence in regards to more patrols all over the island? It would be a good idea to inform businesses on how to protect their property and their workers. That's one.
Yep. Thank you for the question, Minister. Certainly, that's my intent as a new superintendent in charge of uniform. And one of my priorities is ensuring that we get our systems and processes right as part of our organization to ensure we maximize the use of our staff. I think certainly we have done our best to ensure we are visible in the community. However, let me just reiterate something, and this is the approach and how we should be moving. It is not just an RCIPS. We have to look at it as a entire country, but also multi-agency. The RCIPS, let me just give you an example, responds to 35,000 calls every year. 35,000. I picked out as an example one particular report that we go to, and it's alarms. Since this year, we have gone to 1,146 alarms. Now, those alarms are all tied to companies which charge those businesses for a response. But who responds? The RCIPS. That is 1,146 times a patrol car went somewhere that another person is paying for. Those are the things that are causing us not to be able to streamline and ensure that we have dedicated patrols. And those are some of the things that we as an organization have to speak to the private sector and also our partners within government to ensure that we start to streamline processes, that we're not. I'm not saying that we shouldn't go to alarm, please. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is those 1,146 times didn't result in a crime. It's all false alarms. So what I'm trying to say is that 1,146 not necessarily wasted police resources, but it diverted it from where you would have seen them within the community. That is just one example of many. So it is my strategic plan and Chief Soup to ensure that we look at the holistic picture and pick out things just like the alarm issue, and we start to streamline where we go and what we actually do so we can maximize what you, the community, will benefit from the RCIPS.
I just want to say that was a very interesting stat that I didn't know as a minister. And I'm certain that that's not how it applies in other jurisdictions whereby the alarm system responds directly to the police. Otherwise, all your resources would be taken up. And there's a broader question that I'm probably not going to do live on stream, but as policy makers, we have to start to analyze the effect on that on the resources that we do have. Minister Turner?
Yes. Speeding in the Prospect, especially on the Shamrock Road, Spot Street, as we know it, has been a huge concern. The residents of the Prospect Red Bay District are pleading for some speed control measures to be implemented on that road. Is there any update that can be provided at this time? There has been a poll, there has been a group that has been very active in getting that piece of road addressed when it comes to speed calming measures. And follow up to that, can Prospect get more police patrols in the area?
All righty. So I'll address the traffic and roads policing. So as of year to date, we have prosecuted over 5,592 persons for various offenses. When we break it down in the Georgetown district, it's 1,351 prosecutions for speedings alone. When we break it down to Shamrock Road, it is over 500 tickets issued, and that's year to date. So when we look at traffic, we have to ask ourselves, not only as a community, but the drivers, everybody is a driver. And we need to ensure that, one, if you're educated here in terms of driving, you obviously understand the road code and how the system here. But if you're also coming here as a new driver to the country, you also respect the road rules and what the driving within the Cayman Islands is like. And I think a big part of it is that we have various driving cultures. That is a fact. And a lot of the times we look at it, it's just poor driving from various jurisdictions. And yes, our own as well. We're not going to absolve. But at the end of the day, it's simply just poor driving practices. So at one of the meetings that we recently attended with our colleagues and partner agencies, speed cameras and speed system was a discussion. That is for another agency, which is the Home Affairs Agency. And they will be looking at, I'm almost certain. Thank you. All right, sorry, Minister. However, we are working with our partner agency of Home Affairs to develop that system, and specifically, we discussed testing the system because our biggest and highest speeds are between Spots Dock or Spots Public Beach and down to Chrissy Tomlinson roundabout. That is where some of the most ridiculous speeds have been recorded and where most of our prosecutions have been. So and you start to see us down there. Yep. Yep. Right. Thank you. So when you look at Shamrock Road, one of the plans that we have for all is to use the speed system on that as a kind of a testing, a pilot run, because there's a lot of infrastructure, and I won't speak for the other agency, but from a policing perspective, there is a lot of infrastructure that would have to be put in place from the time of recording speed, getting that information to the police, the prosecution, sending out the information. And I'll just make one plea here, because this is a big Achilles heel, not only for the RCIPS, but generally for the judiciary. When persons sell vehicles, please ensure it is transferred. Please. The RCIPS is begging you. A lot of the times, we are prosecuting people that have not been in the Cayman Islands for the last 15, 20 years, right? Because the vehicle has been sold 100 times over. So, yeah. Well, thank you. So we have prosecuted people, and when we've checked the immigration database, they haven't been here in years, right? That for us is a problem, because when someone uses that vehicle to commit a crime, do a road traffic offense, you then have to do extra investigative skill or investigations to find who the actual driver was. And again, we have evidential thresholds when it comes to court, and then it makes it very difficult. So I'll just leave it there.
I want to thank you for that. I want to remind again, Officer Brad, you want to add on to that before we go? Okay.
I just want to send a plea to the minister as well, Minister Turner. We know that that specific area of the Spot Street is very, very difficult to actually set up a speed check because of how the road is designed. So I was wondering if, yes, there's no shoulder. So I was wondering in your ministry if you could actually have NRA design just a section of that road that we can actually pull off, or maybe where the ocean, where was it that? Yes, Mariners Cove. If you could, yes, if you could probably have NRA, work with NRA and give us a section of road there, we can actually fulfill that. Yes, yes. Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Officer Brad. We do have 2 questions in the audience, and we're going to go to them. I just want to remind those who are listening and viewing via social media on Facebook and YouTube, please press the share button so all persons can get the opportunity to hear what is presented this evening. I want to thank all the officers who are here as well. We're going to go to Mr. Sullivan for his first question. Can you make sure he speaks into the mic?
Good evening, everyone. I live in the Prospect area. Prospect Drive down in Bonneville Estate. And we have a serious problem that I've always complained about. It's the overtaking of traffic by the Red Bay Primary School. In the mornings, especially when we are coming down for work. Lately, I've been coming out a little bit later, but I know they used to have an officer. They used to have an officer posted there in the mornings. When there is no officer there, it is a chaos. People just overtaken. And it's most of the people coming from the eastern districts. The people are overtaken trying to cut. Remember now they put a stop sign when you come out the Red Bay Primary for them people to come through. They are not even stopping there anymore. They just drive and come straight through. And the preschool achievement center, they are cutting through, they are taking head, everybody are staying in line, and they are cutting through and overtaking all the cars that are in line to go to your left. And they're overtaken to cut through by where the stop